Welcome, thespians.
Welcome. This episode is all about the actor, an actor's etiquette. Now again, as with audience etiquette on our last episode, this episode will not cover every aspect of an actor's job and how an actor should behave in all aspects, but it does cover some of the key aspects that sometimes get overlooked, but also are extremely important for an actor, whether they're on stage or backstage.
Yeah, when we think about etiquette, it can sound kind of fancy and a little like old-fashioned, but really all it is how to make sure that you conduct yourself when you're an actor in this case in such a way that you're a good castmate, a good coworker, if you will, a good ensemble member. Have you ever had an instance where an actor didn't follow some of these etiquette rules that we're going to talk about?
I'm not
We
going to
don't
say I'm
need to
guilty.
name names. We don't need to name names.
I'm not guilty. I don't care what any of my previous teachers or anybody else, the director said. But yes, this happens quite often, especially missing a cue. That's a major area that actors, sometimes they're in the zone. They're thinking about what they got to do, and they're thinking so hard, they didn't hear the cue.
Right.
So that is something that can be considered, and it's one of the things that we'll address.
And sometimes, we're all human. We get backstage, we've got a minute to rest and maybe socialize with some folks backstage. And in doing that, we kind of get caught up and forget to listen and pay attention to what's going on stage, and we miss our cue. And there can be times where that can be, it's never good. It's never a good thing to miss a cue. But there are some times where it can be kind of disastrous. One of the other things we're going to talk about, I don't want to give away too much, has to do with props and costume pieces, the things that we handle and work with and do things with on stage. And to give you a little bit of a preview, the bottom line is if it's not yours, don't touch it, no matter how helpful you may think you're being. I had one time I was doing a play and there was a prop, it was a letter, so it's just a piece of paper. But it was absolutely consequential it was really kind of the turning point of the whole play. And the actor went off stage, came back and couldn't find the letter, or she had left it backstage. Somebody had either knocked it off. We never did find out what happened to it, but somehow it wasn't where it was supposed to be. And it kind of messed up the next scene. It didn't ruin everything, but it definitely caused some panic on stage. Yes. The actors made it through, but after that we made sure to make extra copies of the letter.
If you want to screw up an actor, drop a line, lose a prop. That'll do it every time.
Yep, that'll do it every time. It's amazing how much a single piece of paper can make a difference in a play when it's not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Now we are talking about actors with these, making sure they're not touching other people's props and such. That also goes for the director. If you're not using the prop, don't move it in case somebody has, like she said, put it in a specific place so that they can get to it.
That sounds like that may have happened to you at some point, maybe.
Never. I would never do that.
I don't know.
It could have happened 1 or 2, 3 times, but probably not.
The bottom line is, anytime we're doing a play, whether you're an actor or on the crew or a director or stage manager, we're all part of a team and we want to be good teammates. And so that's really what we're talking about today, is how to make sure that you are or are not doing things that will help the team accomplish its goal to have a successful production.
Yeah. So let's get right on into this, and then we'll come back and tie it all up.
Today we are tackling a really important topic, and that is how actors should act. Now, before you think I'm going to launch into some long lecture about Stanislavski, I'm not talking about how you portray your character. I'm talking about how you conduct yourself as an actor, as part of a company producing a play. Now, there are lots of things to consider, so today we're really just going to do sort of an overview that if you apply these standards, you're gonna be fine. So when you are in the company of a play, you're on stage, whether you are the leading role or you are the third townsperson from the left, you have a job to do. Everybody on stage with you has a job to do. Everybody backstage has a job to do. And you are all on the same team. You all have the same overall objective, which is to put on a really fantastic show. To that end, it is really important that you respect the work of everybody on stage, whether you are on stage or off stage. Because even though the audience only sees what's happening on stage, what's happening backstage has an impact. Okay, so when we respect the work of everybody in the company, that's a great place to start, and it's a really important beginning to having a successful production. To go along with that, everybody in a company is equal. There are folks that the audience never sees. They don't really know about them, but their job is just as important as your job. If you're the leading lady or leading man, nobody is superior to anybody else. Nobody is more important than anybody else. And it's really important that we all have that mindset and operate with that mindset. Okay? Now let's talk about when you are on stage. You have your job to do. You have your lines, you have your blocking, you have your emotions to express, you have your role to play, right? But there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind when you're on stage as far as respecting the work of the people around you. First of all, don't steal focus. Just because you're on stage doesn't mean that every single minute is a time when the audience should be focused on you. Sometimes your job to do is to direct focus to someone else. And so if someone on one part of the stage is supposed to be the focus, then you don't want to be on the other side of the stage doing something to attract attention to yourself. So really make sure that you understand what is going on stage and where the audience's focus should be, and help that to happen. Having the audience in mind, don't interact with the audience. Okay, we've all probably seen those cute videos of the kids in their elementary school Christmas program finding mom and dad in the audience and waving at them, and that's fine. But when we are performing on stage, we are in the world of the play. And in the world of the play, there's not an audience. And so when we step out of the character that we're portraying and into ourselves and wave at people or in any other way interact with the people in the audience, we damage that illusion that we're working to create on stage, that what's happening on stage is really happening, that the world that we're creating on stage is real and authentic, and that we're the characters we're playing are real people dealing with real events. And when we break that illusion, we're sort of canceling out the work that we're doing to create that illusion. Now, when you're off stage, it's so important. Be quiet. When you're off stage, everything that you do and say has the potential to make it on stage and to distract the people that are working on stage and to be heard by the audience. So the best case scenario is to be silent, to not talk at all. But if you find yourself needing to communicate with the people around you, which of course happens, it's essential that it is done very quietly, as far away from the stage as possibly can happen, and is quick, and then you're right back to being quiet and focused on what's going on. It's also important to listen. Listen to what is happening on stage. Be ready for when you go back on stage.
Robin, congrats! Congrats! That was good. That was really good. Man, the way you did that.
Bob,
Yeah, the other
Bob, where are you?
The
Bob. One of the worst things that can happen is I do my part, I exit the stage, and then I decide, okay, I've got a break. I can relax, I can kick my feet up, I can rest. And that rest is important, of course. But if I completely disengage with what's happening on stage, it can be really easy to lose track of time, to not realize, oh, we're already at the part where I'm supposed to be back on stage. And so by listening and watching and paying attention to what's going on, knowing the timing of how long it is before I go back on stage and what I need to be listening for to be ready to go back on stage is really, really important, because everybody else is counting on you to be on stage when you're supposed to be. When you're off stage, we have to deal with things, props, set pieces, costumes. Okay? What is yours? Take care of it. Be cautious with your costumes. Don't eat or drink in costume except for water. If you need to take something off, hang it up. Don't crumple it on the floor so that it looks good for the next time you need to wear it. If you have a prop, something you carry or hold, make sure it's put back where it needs to be, so that it's ready the next time it needs to be used, whether it's you using it or somebody else. But the things that are not yours, if it's not your costume piece, if it's not a prop that you interact with, if it's not a set piece that is your responsibility, don't touch it. Even if you think you're being helpful. Being helpful is a great thing, and I don't mean to discourage being helpful in general, but sometimes we can, hey, there's this book laying on the floor, that shouldn't be there, I'm going to pick it up and put it somewhere else for the other person. But what you don't realize is that other person had put that book there because they need it quickly, and they need to pick it up and take it back on stage, and when they need it, it's not there. So your intention is good, but the actual practice can be counterproductive. So, best rule of thumb when you're working on a play is if it's not yours, don't touch it. If you think something's out of place, ask a crew member, ask a stage manager, ask a fellow cast member, just to make sure if you think there may be a problem. But don't take the initiative to move it yourself. Now, when you are not actively in the play, it's showtime, during the rest of your life, you still need to think about taking care of yourself. We as actors are kind of unique in the sense that we are our work equipment, if you will. Our voices, our bodies are essential to being able to do our job. And if things aren't working like they're supposed to, we can't do our job the way we need to. So it is important to take care of yourself. It seems a little awkward to think about that as part of etiquette, but how you take care of yourself has a direct impact on the other people in the theater company with you. So taking care not to get sick as much as you can. Good hygiene, washing your hands, wearing a mask when it's necessary, being cautious about who you're around, and just doing things that we all know how to do to try to avoid getting sick. Staying hydrated is really important. Our voices, it's really important that we stay hydrated, so that our voices are healthy, so that our bodies are healthy, and we can do what we need to do. Eating well and exercising, staying away from habits that may damage your voice, that may make you sick, or in some way not able to do the job that you need to do. It's not only good for you and your health and your well-being, but it does have a direct impact on your ability to do your job and to do it to the best of your ability, which impacts everybody around you, your fellow cast members, the crew members, the creatives that are all working to create the best production possible. So taking care of yourself really is taking care of everybody else when you're talking about being in a stage production. There are lots of other things we could talk about: how to act in rehearsal, how to approach preparing for rehearsal, preparing for performance. That all factors into how to do your job well. But that might be a little overwhelming all for one video, so we'll address that another time. For today, treat each other well, treat yourself well, and until next time, thespians, curtain.
All right, hopefully you got something out of this episode on actors etiquette. Again, this is not necessarily everything, but it's by far not anywhere near everything that an actor needs to consider and or be working on during a production.
Right, it's just sort of kind of the overall view. And really, I think kind of when in doubt, if you're not sure how to handle a particular situation or how you're going to be expected to conduct yourself, first of all, ask.
Communication is very, very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ask your director, ask your stage manager, ask a fellow actor, especially if you are working with a company you've never worked with before and there are other more experienced actors there with you. If there's something you're not sure how to handle the situation, being open about that and asking those questions and getting the answers is better than sort of trial and error in some cases. And second is just sort of always default to respect. Respect each other's time, each other's space, each other's things, belongings.
You don't have to like each other. It would be great if you did, but you do need to respect these people are working hard. Even if you don't like them for whatever reasons, or they don't like you, you still have to respect that everybody's doing a job and trying to do the best to their ability.
Right. And not everybody's hard work is done in front of you. So don't fall victim to the idea that you're the one working the hardest and that your job is the toughest or even the most important. Because even if you are the leading man or the leading lady of the show and you think, well, the show couldn't even happen without me. Yeah, well, the show couldn't happen without a lot of people. So keep the perspective of your role and your position in perspective, and definitely nothing trumps that need for respect of the work that the other people in your ensemble are doing.
Right, because your actors are spending several weeks probably rehearsing. That's their bulk of their job. By the last couple of weeks, they should more or less be fine-tuning what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then that's where the stage manager really picks up their job. Not that they're not working hard already, mm-hmm. but now they're starting to tie in all the tech stuff. They're starting to tie in scene changes. All these different things, all these different elements are coming in, and so they're more busy at this point. So even at that time, communication is still incredibly important, because if an actor comes up, if she's the stage manager, I come up and hey, what about this? Oh, don't talk to me right now. I'm busy. Why not take 5 seconds out, find out what it is they need. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can direct them to the person that could answer it more directly, maybe the director, somebody else, or maybe it only takes 5 seconds to answer the question.
Right, could be something really simple. Like,
and it could also be something extremely important that you didn't take time to find out, that there's a prop missing, and later, where's that prop? Well, you wouldn't talk to me, so I couldn't tell you.
Right, and we're all human. We all have moments where the tiredness takes over and we say things that aren't supportive of each other, the total team. But we want to go in with the idea that we're all in this together. We all want the same thing, which is a successful production. We're all working hard, and if we respect each other's work and time, then it's all going to work out. It's going to come out, and we're going to have a great show.
And so next time, we're going to talk about blocking and stage direction and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for the next episode.